Hi, I'm Tiffany Shen, and I'm the founder of Kapow Now, a local Vancouver-based health food company. So when I'm not working at Kapow Now, I'm doing a bit of consulting and working with social impact incubators in Vancouver, which are organizations that help startups that have a social or environmental mission and vision in their businesses. So we help them start up, we help them grow, we help them flourish. So our business structure has always been incorporated just because we're in the food industry, and given that food is a very intimate product for people, I always believe in incorporating the best for both for the company and for the consumers. Right now, even though we're in corporation, it's actually still just me, so I still operate as a sole owner inside the business. So for me, when I first started, it started at home. It was, all the recipes are recipes that were made for my own cooking, my own snacks I wanted. When I changed my diet for a healthier diet, I was looking for different varieties, and this is, the recipes are what I created. So when I started out, I wasn't, I just started really organically. I started with my savings to build a little business. Then there's what they call love money, so that's friends and family, and that's really where I've accessed support from. And just even not just money, there's also been a great help through the community that helped me get to where I was. So that's calling on the back of a bakery, asking if I could use their place at 12 a.m. to make my products for a few hours. So that's really how we started. So in the beginning, like I said, I was starting out in my kitchen, so I wasn't really thinking of a marketing plan or a business plan at that point. But then I've had some experience writing business plans and proposals at my previous work. So, and I was doing that as a freelancer. So I was able to put together a business plan if I was needing to access funds or grants or get into programs. So that's where I was able to figure out how to do it, having previous experience. So that was a great help. But every single proposal is different. Every single grant is different. I did speak to some great consultants out there. There's some female consultants out there that I started with, and they've now become friends. They've been greatly helpful in both my business, but also personally having that support. So that's been really awesome for figuring out the strategy behind food, because it's quite different from other businesses. So knowing your costs of your goods, of your operations is super, super important before you go into market. And even knowing that, starting off when you're small, you may not get the full picture because you don't have the access to economy of scale pricing that you would when you're bigger. And in the food industry, as with any industry, the profit margin is different because you have different third parties in the middle, right? That you aren't aware of. So when people enter in the food industry, myself included, you start with a cost that you think is right, but it isn't most of the time. There's all these little things that need to be considered for your final pricing before you enter into the market. Because something I've learned and was told to me is people are okay with you lowering the price, but they really don't like it when you raise the price. So when you enter the market with the pricing that you think is healthy but isn't, that can really cause a lot of issues later. So I was lucky enough to be able to access some information to roughly get an idea of my cost of goods sold and the pricing that I should have, but there were always little costs later on that I wasn't accounting for or didn't know that I was going to incur, such as marketing costs, shelf costs, pre-fills, chargebacks, things like that. So working with retailers is interesting, and how you work with retailers is interesting because you need to know what price that they're putting on. That's the MSRP, manufacturer's suggested retail price. But there's also the pricing that is acceptable by market. So when they look at your product, they're also looking at how it compares to the other products on the market. That's how much the different values of the features of the product compared with the weight price per weight, right? So per gram. So that's what the retailers are looking at. But it's not just the retailers price that you consider, because down the line, even if you're selling direct to a retailer, down the line you probably will get a distributor. That's the goal. And then on top of distributor, you may get a broker. But then on top of the broker and distributor, you may also have marketing costs that the stores themselves incur. Distributors sometimes also have marketing costs that you need to pay into for shows, for different marketing efforts to help promote the product. And those are the costs, are the hidden costs that most people don't see. And there's also shipping costs. Those are also, hidden costs that you may not account for in the beginning. It may change throughout time. So, with the product that you consume, I think it's really important for the consumer to be able to try the product. So the traditional way of promoting your product in the food industry has been doing demos. So that's having someone, yourself or having a rep, go to a store or a location that the product's sold at and giving out samples and talking about the product. That is traditionally how it's been done the last little while, and it works to some extent. It's quite costly, I'll be honest with you. It's quite costly. Now there's also different ways of promoting your product. A lot of it through digital media. What they have is influencer marketing, along with different kinds of programs here and there. But I really think that what every brand really needs to do is see what works for them, see what their values are, who they are at their core, and find marketing that works for them. That's something that I'm really, I wouldn't say passionate, but that's something I think about a lot. I was in marketing before, and there's certain types of marketing that I personally did not like and just didn't want to do. So I really had to find different ways of marketing that fit for my brand. So for different producers, different brand, I think each brand needs to look at what their core values are and see what works for them in the market. So that could be, if you're a brand that really needs to engage, wants to engage one-on-one, then the demos are a great way. But if giving the hype, the global hype of influencers and other people, the digital media may be the way. So for my brand, Kapow Now, we do have our own facility, but now we're actually working with a co-packer as well. Kapow Now has gone through a lot of different homes. Like I said before, I may have mentioned, I started off in the back of little bakeries at off hours, carrying in 90 kilos of chickpea flour and rice flour and all sorts of things at like 2 in the morning. It got a little insane. Then we got our own facility, and but we got evicted because they were renovating, or they were bulldozing the whole entire lot for apartment buildings. So in my first year, I had to look, first and a half, 1.5 years, I had to look for a new facility, which is a whole different production in itself. It's a full-time job. So a year and a half into business, I was looking for a new facility, found it, renovated it, made it food safe, but couldn't really quite make the rent because we were still fairly small. So we started renting to other people. And what came out of it was a commissary kitchen, which I didn't actually look at as a business in the beginning, but then later on realized was a business. So I was running my food brand business, Kapow Now, as well as this facility, which was amazing because there was other small producers in there, a lot of women, a lot of homemade artisan products. But I was running these two businesses again quite out of hand. So recently I got some partners onto the commissary kitchen, and now we have a commissary kitchen that we run for other small food producers that Kapow Now is working out of. But we also work with a co-packer for some of our products because we don't have the machinery. So for women entrepreneurs, it traditionally has been actually a little bit more difficult to get access to funding, to assets, or just support. There's definitely a growing community of people who are wanting to help each other, other women, entrepreneurs, amazing people. But traditionally it's been difficult just because our social structure has been in a certain way, right? So what I think would be really helpful for women entrepreneurs is support around looking at how women grow their businesses. Because how women grow their businesses, it's different from how men grow their businesses, just given the nature of women are the ones, they have children, they have families. They also grow their businesses different just because of a certain mentality, which is more of a steady growth. And statistics have shown it may be like incrementally slower, but women still get to the same place in the end, just in a different way. So how we support women needs to be a bit different. It needs to be more nurturing, it needs to be more supportive, more community oriented. I think grants are a great help just to get people off the, started off, but still having the support, not just the grant, but support of other mentorship, mentors and networks, people in the network to help women, guide women along the business, the business journey. That would be really, really helpful. But also having access to different kinds of loan, financing, fundraising, that would be really, really, I think, important for the growth of any businesses. But having programs that are geared towards speaking the language of how women-led businesses grow. So that's looking at growth that is incremental, that is more has a longer timeline. That would be really, really great, because there isn't really much out there, I think, right now. And that's something I think we really, really need for the community, because women-led businesses are really valuable. They look at longer-term plans, and there's something that I think that can add something really great just to the business environment in general. I think that everyone needs a bit of guidance. There's that quote, how does it go? If you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go further, go with others. And I really believe in that, because I know for myself, I've seen with others, that when there's a group of people helping each other out, they can really, really do more. And there's more creativity, there's support, there's more energy, because energy builds on top of other people's energy. And so having peer-to-peer mentorship is really, really amazing. It builds a community, it gets people fired up, and it actually builds a community where competition isn't looked at as bad. It's more so nurtured as friendly, compassionate competition. So having peer-to-peer mentorship, having people who have done it, gone before, come back and be able to mentor, I think also gives not something just to the mentee, but also to the mentor. And I think there's a really great opportunity for a sharing community, where people are able to come and offer what they know from their previous jobs, from their previous lives. Everyone has something different to offer, because what you put your energy in is what's growing in you, and that's something different from the person next to you. So, I really believe in helping each other out.